Alrighty, welcome back to another video, and I thought I'd make like a video that kind of will answer a question that so many people in the Bannerlord community have. It is something that I see everywhere, and it's the question of why is there no, like, how can I say this? Why isn't there more, not no, why isn't there more diplomacy features in Bannerlord? So here's how I'm going to explain this to you. It's going to be in parts, alright? But it's going to be all together, right? I'm going to explain to you what the devs have said in the past about this, okay? Like, I'm talking about, like, early access time, before it even, the game, you know what I mean, fully came out, right? Early access time, what they've said about it. I'm going to tell you how a development process works, try to explain this to you. And also give my, I guess, anecdotes, because I've been involved in projects where I have good ideas and I put them out there and they don't make it in. Okay? This is an explanation video. This isn't a video about, oh, should it be added? Should it not be added? Do you agree with it being added? It is nothing like that. This is a video to explain to you, the Bannerlord player, who might not know how development of these type of things work, so you can then, have a better understanding of it. Okay? So I'm not pushing no objective here. It's an explanation. So don't get your panties in a bunch, all right? Relax. Listen, okay? All right, so game development. Let's put it over here, you know what I mean? I got the, here we go. Game development. All right. It's the whole goddamn screen almost. Game development. All right, so here's how it works, right? So when you develop a game, especially when you're in a company, right? Just if you ever had a job, let's say you ever had a job, right? There's a structure to your job. Main guy, call him CEO. Then you have people below him, right? Can have different names. Director, manager, senior manager. There's so many different names, right? After that splits up even more. It splits up even more. More people are in charge of other people, right? There we go. And in terms of Bannerlord, they have like 100, right? So let's just like 100 developers, or is it 100 team? Whatever, right? Let's say this bottom part right over here, it's kind of messy, but I'm trying to like show that it's a lot of people, right? Let's say these are the devs right over here, right? These are the guys that code the game, right? And some of these guys up here, obviously they know how to code as well, right? But these are developers, right? So here's how it goes. This is just how, if you've ever had a job and you ever had a suggestion for your manager, you know this. It's very similar, okay? They want to implement something into the game, right? And I'm talking about, this is after the game is made, but the developers are still creating updates. This is not initial development of the game. Let me reiterate. Game development after launch, okay? That means there's a product already out there. They could add stuff to it. They usually don't take stuff out unless it's really bad or broken, right? Add stuff to it, fix stuff, right? That's usually what the devs are doing at this point of the game, right? After it's launched in, let's say, 1.0, right? So the devs will have an idea. They might get it from you, the community, or just themselves playing, and it just comes to their head, right? What they have to do is then they write it down, and this is something the developers have said before. They've shown this process to us, okay? I don't have the screenshot, but I've covered this game since the beginning. You know what I mean? I got a little memory over here. Call me an elephant or something. You know what I mean? But listen, the developers will then, as soon as, let's say they have an idea, right? Let's put one of, what do you call this? Let's say this is a light bulb. How do you make it like so it shows like it's light? It's like a Never mind. This looks really bad. This is a light bulb, okay? They have an idea. This is an idea, okay? Don't make fun of my drawing skills. I'm going to cry. For real. No, I'm not. But, like, you know, you could pretend. This is an idea. They make a list, okay, of this idea. A list. One of these. You know what I mean? With multiple ideas, right? Multiple ideas. Let's say they got 4 new ideas. They then bring this list in a meeting. So then it goes into meeting time, right? With the higher ups. With big guys, the higher ups. These boys right over here. Not always just the CEO, because usually, you know, guy all at the top, he handles like the business, right? But this, like over here, these guys that work with the developers directly, with those guys. Let's call them the big devs or the big devs, whatever you want to call them, right? You have a meeting with them. They look over the list, right? And here's the thing. And this is the part that a lot of people don't like. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying I like it either. Okay? But I'm not being biased in this way right now. Usually, these guys, okay? And I'm not trying to hate in no way to these guys. They pick and choose what they think will be the easiest to implement, and also what makes sense, what fits, and also what will cause the least amount of issues to the game. Because we have to remember, let's remember this real quick. Let's put a star right over here. Bannerlord, I'm going to just put Banner, okay, Bannerlord, we can just put the whole thing, is a sandbox, okay? So a sandbox, if you didn't know, is a game that is played on its own. What does that mean? You can stay in one spot the whole time, and the world will play without you. It is not a first-person action-adventure game where you are the main character. If you do nothing, if you just sit there and just fast-forward time, the world will go without you. You know what I mean? It doesn't need you in there. But you are in there and you could play in the sandbox. Think about it like a regular sandbox in a park. When you're not there, the sandbox is still being used. You know what I mean? But when you get there, then you play in the sandbox. Okay? So, these big guys right over here want to make this sandbox as stable as possible. Okay? And also, sometimes they will make decisions that the devs might not exactly agree upon. But the devs, as like anybody who's ever worked a job and was like, hey, I think we should probably, you know, maybe do this, know that a lot of times your answer to a lot of your ideas will be a no. Not always, but I'll throw a percentage out there. 80% of the time, it's going to be a no. Does that suck? Yes. But does it happen? Yes. Okay? And the developers back in the day, this is not how they worded it, okay? I'm not trying to put no developers on the line right over here. But as they stated, they take their ideas, right, to meetings, and then the people that are a little bit higher up, they decide what goes in, what goes out, what stays, what doesn't stay, what gets thrown off the list, what doesn't get thrown off the list. And then the developers then go in and do as the higher ups say. Because at the end of the day, a developer, if you didn't know, is still a job. And if they work for a company, they can't just add whatever you want or whatever they want. They have to still follow what their business and what their job tells them to do. Okay? So I think, you know, just so you understand, even the developers might want exactly what you want, but due to circumstances, it will not get added. Now, am I saying, oh, well, then we should just blame the big devs, or we should blame the people at the top more. I guess. But I'm just saying, as a person who's been in the workforce, who's developed projects, who's been in parts of development of projects, I'm pretty sure you've had a school project before. You know what I mean? You ever been to school and had a project where it's like a team of like 5 students and one becomes the leader? You know what I mean? Eventually, or you can kind of like tell who's the leader guy. You know what I mean? And sometimes you just stick to what he says and you do what he says. Or have you ever played a sport before? There's a coach. You do what the coach says, or you're going to get put back on the bench. Do you get what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to explain to you is the reason why these diplomacy features aren't added yet. And I'm not saying they will or will not be added. Certain things, I'm going to tell you right now, won't be added. Okay? I'm just going to give this to you. Feast, it was a stance that they said is probably not going to be added. You know what I mean? Sorry. You know what I mean? But that's like one off the top of my head that I remember that's not going to be added. But then again, they said ships weren't going to be added before. And now look at the DLC. What I'm saying is the development of Bannerlord is still not finished. What do I mean by that? When the DLC comes out later this year, patch 1.3 is coming out at the same time. That's the new big patch that's coming out pretty much in the same time frame. We don't know everything that's going to be in there. There could be more diplomacy features. And that's not also the last patch that we're going to have. Do you understand? So, what can you get from that? I would say be a little bit optimistic. You know what I mean? We could actually get some good diplomacy features. Sure. It might not be exactly what you wanted, but it could still be a good thing. Okay? But yeah, hopefully that explained to you how the development cycle works. I know it might not be what you want to hear, but it's not just, oh, we keep telling the devs do it and they don't do it, so they suck. Okay? That's not, sorry, but that's not how that works. Because, like, I'll be honest with you. For example, I worked at Target recently, right? There was a lot of issues. And there was such easy, simple solutions where I was just like, hey, maybe we should do it like this. And then out of goddamn nowhere, literally out of left field, there's something in the like huge book of rules, you know what I mean, that you sign whenever you get the job, where it's just like, you can't do this because it's a safety hazard for this and this and this and that, and this actually impacts that, and this will make the Target store look bad because of this. And then you just realize, like, okay, that sucks. What can I do about it? Nothing. You know? And then I, as the Target worker, will then get blamed by the consumers of Target for why something is inefficient in the store. It's like when, for example, you see those public freak out videos where you see someone freaking out to an employee on why the price of coffee went up. It's like, dog, I am not the person who does that. I am just doing my job. Like, the flack you're giving me, it's not, you know what I mean? It has nothing to do with me. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you. The developers might want literally the same thing you want, but they, at the end of the day, and I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible, don't get paid by you. They get paid by their job. And people have families. People have stuff that, you know, well, people need money for bills, you know. We live in a capitalist system. You need money all the time. So, you do your job. Hopefully that explains it to you. If you took offense to it, quit being a baby. Yeah, grow up. I'll see you in the next one.